Feedback. Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton.
And I am Thabiti Mpinda.
Inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback,
A positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback, feedback, feedback. Happy Monday to everybody. Oh, well, this town is getting heated up like every other town in this nation. My name is Theo Broom, co-founder of Hood Research, and my co-host. Absolutely. Just want to say happy Monday to everybody. And you know, this past weekend, Thabiti, I participated in a honoring of Greg Waller. Greg Waller was the vice president of Barton McFarland Neighborhood Association, and he was the president of the Cheyenne Block Club. And he was just determined to do as the governor said, fix the damn road. There's an entrance on Schaefer and I-96 going down on the freeway. It was horrible. People would damage their cars and all. Greg Waller just kept after it. This gotta be repaired. And he did get it repaired. He has since passed, but this past Friday, we participated in lifting up the name and the spirit of Greg Waller. And his wife was very appreciative, with that, of course. And the council member of that district, which is the 7th district, Fred Durhal, was there also to speak to the kind of dedication and tenacity that Greg Waller had. And Hood Research, of course, gave a resolution also to lift up the name of Greg Waller. This morning, just want to say happy Monday to Jesse, who was there, and Martha, and Tawana was there, and it was very, very nice. So, and then the regular folk that we speak to, Thabiti, who you want to say good morning to?
I want to give a shout out to Sister Katrina, and thank you for the scarf representing people of Palestine. Also, I want to give a shout out to Brother Mark Cummings, Professor Griggs, Ruth Ann, and also Sister Jackie. And as I always tell you, and I'll show you now as well, always have your pen and paper handy when you listen to this show, because there's always information you're going to want to get. And today is one of those definitely days you want to get the information, because if you're a City of Detroit resident, it's going to be very pertinent to you.
Absolutely. And we have two guests today, and our first guest, Thabiti.
Our first guest is Sister Shoshana Shakur. And as I say, you need pen and paper this time, because this is going to benefit the residents of the City of Detroit, and we're dealing with property taxes. And so, as I've heard said so many times over the decade, without further ado, here is Sister Shoshana Shakur.
Okay. I bring revolutionary greetings, and I love my beautiful sister, warrior sister, Theo. We go a long way back, and I'm happy for that. And I was recently introduced to my warrior brother, Thabiti, over there. So, and the work that you all are doing is just phenomenal, and bringing the information that we need. So to tell you, I'm representing the Coalition for Property Tax Justice today. And just to give a brief introduction to that, back from 2009 through 2017, over $600 million was stolen from property owners in the city of Detroit through your taxes. And a warrior sister named Professor Bernadette Antaheny was so upset and angry about that situation, as, many of us were. But she moved to start this coalition for property tax justice, to get some tax justice.
Mhm.
So we have 3 goals. One is to stop the over assessment of taxes, to get compensation for the monies that have been stolen, and to stop the foreclosures. Because when they over assess your taxes and then overtax you, you end up getting a lot of people in a position of being foreclosed on, right?
Mhm.
So we found that, and I just came into the coalition about 3 years ago, and to this day, the city of Detroit is still over assessing property owners on their taxes. So that has to stop. But today I want to give some specific information to you and let you know that there is something out there to help give you some relief, but you have to do something about it. And there's a deadline that I want you to write down. Tabiti said, write this down. Write it down. Remember it. November 1st. That's this week. November the 1st. Or is that Monday? November the 1st.
Next week.
Next week on Monday. You have to, those of you who are eligible, apply for the HOPE program, HOPE. And Wayne Metro, which is a nonprofit group here in the city of Detroit, they process those applications. And you're applying, first of all, for the property tax exemption that will allow you, if you're eligible, to waive your property taxes. But you have to reapply every year for this property tax exemption. And some of you have seen this card that has been passed around the city for several months now. But we want you to apply for that property tax exemption from the HOPE program through Wayne Metro. And if you do that, there are other resources and programs that Wayne Metro can help you with. And I know, because I talk to people on a daily basis about the tax situation. And one of, next to getting help with taxes, Detroiter property owners are concerned with is home repairs. And unfortunately, most of those programs have been depleted, but Wayne Metro will put you on the waiting list. That's why it's important also to apply for HOPE. Because if you're not on the waiting list, then when the funds are replenished, you won't, be able to get them. So, do that. And there's another program that, there's numerous ones, but there's another one called the PAYS program. And the PAYS program will allow you to stay in your home while you pay. You still, you have to pay the taxes, but they'll put you on a program that will allow you to stay in your home while you pay. So I encourage you to call us at the coalition at 313-329-7610. That's 313-329-7610. And we can schedule you an appointment with Wayne Metro, or you could call Wayne Metro directly. And their number is area code 313-388-9799. And Wayne Metro is area code 313-388-9799. And I'll give you those 2 numbers again before I leave today. But I also want to tell you about another real important program that a lot of us really don't know about. And it's called principal residence exemption. Because let me step back for a minute and say the whole property tax exemption, that's income based. It is income based. So you have to have low income. I don't want to, give anyone, false hope here. Because I don't care whether you have low income or moderate income. And some people high income, these taxes that you're being overassessed are unfair and you shouldn't have to pay all of them. But unfortunately, with the Hope property exemption, they're only going to help people who are low income, right? Okay. Now the principal residence exemption, that's the second program that I'm speaking about, is called principal residence exemption. In order to qualify for that, it's not income based. You have to own your own home. Your name must be on the deed, and your license or identification must match the address of the home. And if you meet those requirements, then you should be eligible to get the principal residence exemption. And that will help with your local school taxes. You will become exempt from paying those. And you again can call the coalition at 313-329-7610. And it's also important to have that principal residence exemption because it is a gateway into other programs at Hope that you may be qualified for. So, and then one other program or service that I would like to introduce to you, and this is very important, is at the coalition, we partner with Lakeshore Legal Clinic in getting people assistance with the deed to their property. Oftentimes, unfortunately, when our parents and grandparents pass on, papers aren't in order and the home is left in your parent name, but you don't qualify for resources because your name is not on the deed. And you have to go through probate or some procedures in order to get that done. So this is extremely important. And you could call us at the coalition and we can help by referring you to Lakeshore Legal Clinic, who would be able to help you change your name, the name on the deed.
Now I've got a question. When you mentioned the PAYS program, is that PAYS?
Yes.
Okay,
Thank
I
you.
want to be sure of that.
Right. And it's the Michigan PAYS program, PAYS.
Michigan. Okay, and I hope you all had a chance to write that down. Now you say the deadline is November the 1st to apply. Now do you call the Property Tax Coalition or do you call the Wayne Metro? Which number do you call just to make sure that you qualify and are entering into that?
If you call us at the coalition, we could tell you whether or not you qualify, and we will schedule you for an appointment with Wayne Metro. However, you can just cut through the chase and call straight to Wayne Metro. But also, I want you to have both numbers because Wayne Metro is busy, quite busy. So you might not get through to them, right? Yeah.
Now you were saying the principal residence exemption allows you to, you must own the home. Your name must be on the deed.
Yes.
And I don't know
your license or your ID.
Okay.
Oh, and thank you, Tabiti, for going back to that, because the other thing for both of those, the property tax exemption and the principal residence exemption, you must live in that property. I've had some, really, sad cases where people weren't living in the property because they had a fire or there's, damage to the home.
Right.
But you have to live in the property. And they also do not help landlords. Understand that this is for property owners who occupy their homes.
Now, is there a division between property tax? Because to be a property tax homeowner and get an exemption, and then the explanation that you were giving us first? Are there two separate things?
From the okay, with both things, you have to be a property owner.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference is the income base of the property tax exemption, the first one.
Mm-hmm.
They look at your income, and I'm going to look at this chart right here. This is the card that I was showing you earlier.
Okay.
Okay. I'll look at this chart, and suppose, you come to me, Sister Broughton, and you say, I'm interested in a property tax exemption.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm ask you, are you a homeowner? Yes.
Yes.
Do you occupy your home? Do you live there?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. How many people are in your household?
20.
Okay. We went off the chart.
Okay.
Sister Bro, we went off the chart.
So say three.
Three.
Is that a good number?
We can handle 3.
Okay. All right. 3.
Okay. For 3 people living in the household, your maximum income cannot exceed $26,849. That's the maximum. In order to get a maximum 100% exemption, then you can't make more than that. And then you move over to 75% exemption. You can't exceed 28,340.
Is that using the income of all 3 people living in the home?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So, yeah,
Mhm.
unfortunately it is.
Okay.
And then it goes all the way to 10% where the income cannot exceed $52,356.
Now, does that have anything to do with the number of occupants? Like when you say up to the last number that you quoted?
Mm-hmm.
So does that depend on how many people occupy the house, or just the household's income in general?
Just the household. And well, no, it depends because it's a chart. So
Based on occupancy.
based on occupancy. So,
Okay.
one person, you can't make more than 20,120.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. That's a
Okay.
great question. Yeah. Thank
Mhm.
So that's how, and that's the downside. You know, the program is good and it helps people who are in need.
Mhm.
But unfortunately, you know, it's like you have to have a really low income, right?
Mhm.
But some people say, well, no, I don't, meet that requirement for the 100% exemption. But even if you get a 10% exemption,
Right.
that's some relief. And the other great thing is what I was telling you before is that now you are signed into all of these resources,
Right.
weatherization of your home repair, the PAYS program is different resources.
Now, I want to, just for the benefit of the audience, repeat that the number for the Property Tax Coalition is area code 313-329-7610. I'll repeat that. That's 313-329-7610. And the Wayne Metro number is area code 313-388-9799. Again, that's 313-388-9799. Now, is the numbers that we have, this is basically what, 9 to 5 p.m., something like that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I just want everybody to know that, you have to be within the time frame in order, to be able to take advantage of that. Now, one question, because I know we're getting a little down on time. I know you said that the 3 goals were stop overassessment, compensation, and to stop foreclosures. How is that part of everything going right now?
Okay, well, thank you for asking that, Tabiti. And we're at war right now with the city council and the mayor. The particularly we call them our she-rolls, the women on the city council had been really helpful in passing a couple of resolutions to stop these things that we're speaking about, the foreclosures and overassessment. However, they're not enforcing it. They're not enforcing it. And we were just down at the city council the other day trying to let them understand that they need to put impartial people who are going to be in the best interest of the homeowner on the board of review. And let me explain that real quick. When they overassess your property, you have a right to appeal. And by the way, call that number 2 at the coalition, because we will represent you at the appeals hearing that occur every March. In March, you can appeal. You say, my property taxes are too high. This is ridiculous. And you call us and we'll see if you're eligible for our representation. And usually it's no income base or anything. It's just we have a calculation to see if we determine that your property is being overassessed, right? Okay, then we go to the board of review. And unfortunately, for the last maybe 3 years since I've been there, the board of review is denying over 70% of the appeals. Okay, so they're not getting relief, and we're saying, well, what's going on with this? And then there are a couple of people in particular working with the board of review who are being somewhat disrespectful and inconsiderate to the homeowner and the coalition when we bring the cases. So we looked over it and said, well, wait a minute. You have to be tested. You have to take a test according to the ordinance, the city ordinance, in order to be accepted into the board of review. First of all, council people will nominate someone, right? To put on the board of review, but then they have to take a test. And we're finding out these people do not take the test. They just they're nominated, they're put on there, and we're saying, well, something's wrong with that. And then we've recommended to the city council, that they select some of the people from the coalition who is doing this work, and they'll test and put them on the board of review. But we're fighting with them over that right now. But the good news in terms of foreclosure, we were able to work with Wayne County, Eric Sabri over the last couple of years. And, we prevented, with working together, 13,000 people from being foreclosed on.
Nice number. Very nice number.
Mm-hmm.
So now, I want to again, because some of you didn't have your pen and paper handy. If you want to contact the Property Tax Coalition, the phone number is area code 313-329-7610. And the number to the Wayne Metro is 313-388-9799. Now, I've just got one more question myself. Now, most people who live in their homes don't have no idea what their property tax is and if it's overassessed. So does the Property Tax Coalition, I guess, look at, whatever the general area is and then help them determine what their property taxes should be and then assist them beyond that?
Thank you. That's exactly what we do. And we're at war with the city on how they assess property taxes, because the city has a method where they just take houses in blocks and they put figures on the taxes. Right. At the coalition, we look at 3 things. We look at the recent properties that were sold in that neighborhood that are of similar, features to your home. And we look at that figure. We look at the damages and the condition of your home. If you got a hole in your roof, we consider that. If your furnace, is in bad repair, because you know, if someone comes in to purchase your home, you know, they're gonna look at those things, and you know, and you shouldn't be over taxed on that. And then we look at the neighborhood. You know, some of the saddest cases I've seen is, you know, there are beautiful homes in the city of Detroit, and we know that. But then we have some situations where there may be 2 or 3 houses left on a block, right? So if those homes are left on the block, then why are you increasing their taxes? And also the neighborhood. If the neighborhood is crime ridden, why are you raising these people's taxes until you correct those problems? So yes, we'll look at it and we'll assess your property.
Okay, we've actually got to the bottom of the hour.
Okay.
This has been a very informative interview, and I hope that if you're a City of Detroit resident, that you really have taken advantage of this, and you can. I'll give later on in the show how you can go online to pull up this show again. And then that way, if there's something that you missed or you tuned in late, you'll be able to get the information. But we want to thank our guest, Shoshana Shakur, for this information. She's a warrior sister, as is Theo Broughton, out here on the front line. And we just need more frontline warriors. This is, we have to understand that as a collective, we can get what we want. But if we work individually, then they'll take us off one by one, and we can't go out like that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
November 1st.
Is the deadline.
Remember, yes. And thank you so much for being with us this morning. And we look forward to you being with us again, because this is extremely important. And even though, you know, you mentioned the deadline, the need continues to go on, and people need to make sure that they're prepared to apply for each time something comes up. We are about to take our break and refresh your orange juice, your coffee. Call somebody, tell them to tune in, and we'll be back momentarily. Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton.
And I am Thabiti Mpinga.
Inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback,
A positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV. Watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback. All right, and we are back. And you know, this season, election season, is getting really interesting. That's just putting it mildly. Some people are about to pull their hair out because of the kinds of things that are taking place and the kind of attitude that this particular candidate has. Donald Trump is just totally off of a lot of things, including his rocker. But you know, Thabiti, we need to let people know that we have a local election going on here in this city, and with our school board in particular. A few days ago, I had an opportunity to hear an interview of a young child, 10 years old. He's a genius. He could read at 18 months old. Graduated from high school at 8 years old. He's currently in college at 10. And anybody who is interested in hearing this interview can go to YouTube. His name is Gregory Robert Smith. And somewhere doing that, they even reversed it, Robert Gregory Smith. But he's a very serious young man, and he's an avid reader. He he knows that he is gifted. He will say that his gift was given by God, and he also said that he wanted to get 3 doctorate degrees.
Our caller has called in.
Oh, our guest is with us. Okay. Well, I want to say happy Monday and welcome so much to our program. This is Reverend Otis Moss II, and I'm sure that many of you have seen the video Otis Dream that we have played regularly on this station. And there's a second one which is by his son, Otis Moss III, and that's the one on democracy is on the ballot. As a matter of fact, we shared that with you this past Monday. Reverend Otis Moss, can you hear me okay?
Good morning. I hear you. And I am honored to be with you.
I'm so glad that you were able to be with us this morning. The first question I always ask is, who is Otis Moss?
Well, I won't use up a lot of our time telling you who I am, but let me say that I am a retired pastor after many years from the Olivet Institutional Baptist Church, blessed with a wonderful and loving family. My wife, Edwina Moss, we have been together as husband and wife for 58 years.
Wow.
And we are proud of our oldest son in Cleveland, Kevin Moss, who just retired after some 30 plus years, 40 I believe, with the electric company, utilities company, and Otis III, senior pastor of Trinity United Church of Christ in Chicago, and of course, our deceased daughter, Daphne, who now dwells in eternity, and our beloved cousin, Theo, who works daily to help save our democracy and spread truth throughout the community. I'm honored to be with you.
Well, thank you so much. Well, we have so much to work on within our community, within our state and the country. And we have a very serious issue that is going on now. And I was very excited and pleased to hear Reverend Otis Moss III to do his presentation on democracy is on the ballot.
Yes.
Last night, both presidential candidates were having rallies, and one was in New York with Donald Trump, and the second one was in Pennsylvania with Kamala Harris. And
yes.
you know, it's sad when you hear that the report that these two candidates are neck and neck. I just find it appalling that anybody or as many people who could be in support of a man who has 34 felonies.
My.
You know, who has molested a woman. And that case went to court as well, and she won. And then the kinds of things that he says, that he wants to be a dictator. That gets into the area of fascism. Why would people gravitate to that? What is your analysis of what's going on?
Well, several things. One, you are absolutely correct in terms of the contrast in choices.
Mm-hmm.
A remarkable individual a woman of dignity and high, exceptional qualification, who presents herself in such an amazing way. Truly a historic figure, as opposed to one who spends apparently his days and nights with bitterness, hate, ugliness, fear, and ferocious smear against others and groups, and targeting individuals on a daily basis with vitriol and demeaning, inhumane kinds of attacks over and over and over. And yet he has a cheering audience. This is not new. Commentators and news reporters have begun to compare the Trump campaign with the Hitler campaign, and his own former cabinet members have referred to him in terms of dictatorship or fascist characterization. And yet he has a following. But let us remember that evil and injustices always have their audience, their following. Some because of profiting from such practices. You remember the institution of slavery was indeed a highly profitable enterprise. Jim Crow, segregation, racism have always been institutions with amazing profits, and some people always follow those profits. And people who are not benefiting from those profits kind of stand in line hoping that someday such profiteering will fall into their hands. So we have that kind of corrupt, in my opinion, leadership, racist endeavor, and injustice, like slavery and Hitler and Putin, always have their following. Some are dedicated believers. Some, because they do not have the courage to stand up against evil and injustice. And some follow out of fear and expectation to somehow be rewarded for their loyalty to evil and injustice. And when we put all of that together, we can see from the institution of slavery and colonialism and segregation and Jim Crow, these systems have their following. And they are also, from time to time, highly profitable. And it's our responsibility to make them unprofitable.
Reverend Moss, my name is Thabiti, co-host with Theo. One of the things that always, I guess, perplexes me is, okay, number one, we would hear, I don't even call them the Republican Party now, those who support Trump, I call them the Trumplicans, because the whole idea of the Republican Party has been put to the side to follow what many of us consider to be a cult leader. And he has created a cult following as well. I happened to look at a documentary on PBS a few weeks ago where they were giving the background from their beginnings, which would be Kamala Harris and Trump, showing how they were raised and all the things they came through. And I could see how he was sort of coached or schooled in how to be, as you were saying, using demeaning language. He's always on the attack. And those who taught him that, which would be a Roy Cohn, who was a lawyer, and I believe he had mob ties as well, along with Roger Stone, and then his father, Fred Trump Sr., all of them sort of molded him into the character that he is. Now, I guess one of my questions is that I've always looked for the higher ground, as Michelle Obama said once, when they go low, we go high. Sometimes we can't stay as high as we want to be because they're bringing the standards low. So in your opinion, how is there any morality left? Because we always look for morals. We look for integrity. We look for people of good conscience and goodwill. But the millions that support Donnie, because I don't really have any respect for him, so I might call him anything. Polite on air, of course. But, Donnie has been able to mold this. And one of the things, and then I'll let you answer, sir, is that I never looked at the show The Apprentice. I was working during that time, but I think even if I had been off in the afternoon or evening whenever it aired, I never looked at the show. It never had any appeal to me, but he was very brash. So my question to you, sir, is where do we find a moral high ground? And not only that, I believe there are more moral people than immoral people, but how do we get the people who are moral, who believe in righteousness, to let's say, develop a coalition or to build a unity where our voices are louder than the evil and wickedness that we're hearing and witnessing now?
Very urgent and I think necessary question, and an excellent perspective. We have to remember that in times of our worst characters and doctrines, there is always that moral, that force of respect, dignity, and decency. Often they are under attack. But in the days of our civil rights movement, of which I was a dedicated participant, the voice of a Martin Luther King Jr., the genius of a Thurgood Marshall, the courage of a Rosa Parks, and a Fannie Lou Hamer, and a generation of young students who created a new movement in the history of our nation. We went to jail with dignity and with dedication, facing brutality and injustice on a daily basis, facing the Klan and the mob without allowing their clan mentality to become a part of our own emotions and commitments. So there is always, against these forces of evil, forces, continuing forces of justice and dignity and decency. And we see it in Vice President Harris and her running mate. We see it in President Obama and Mrs. Obama. We see it in President Biden, and we see it in Vice President Kamala Harris. So, yes, these ugly forces are forever with us, but there are always these decent, civil, and civilizing forces. Sometimes we are under attack, but I think we have to allow those attacks to make us more dedicated and more profound and more determined to stand up for that which is right and to literally save our democracy. We are at that point in history. And I think Vice President Harris, in addition to being that well-prepared individual, vice president with a great background in the Senate and in the state of California, and carrying on the office of vice president, moving toward the presidency. She didn't come to this on easy street. She has come up through challenges, but she has lived, and in spite of commitment and life, in spite of all of the difficulties and the dangers, she has continued to walk the path of excellence and dignity and decency, the kind of path that we want our children and our children's children to see, to be inspired by, and to embrace. So with all of the ugliness, I still have faith and I still have belief that Kamala is going to win, and that these ugly forces are going to be defeated. Although it is painful to see a presidential campaigner, presidential candidate, in my opinion, far more loyal to Putin than he is to the Constitution of the United States of America. Mm-hmm. That's dangerous and frightening, and that's why we've got to vote and encourage others to do so.
Now, one question, I'm glad you mentioned our children and grandchildren. I'm a father and I'm a grandfather, and one of the things I have a very close relationship with my granddaughter. I take her to school every day. I've been there in her life since basically day one. But now my question to you, sir, is, and you being within the church setting and having all kind of people in the congregation, what can or should we do to bridge this disconnect with the youth? Because as we see, I can say when I was coming up that, okay, I'm looking at in a generational sense, I put it like that. So each generation has their own influences because it is another generation, whether it's in terms of music, the type of movies, etc. But we do have a disconnect with our youth. Is there anything in your experience that you can share with us that might help us to bridge that gap? And I'll just add to this that one of the things that I've done, which kind of helps me with youth, and I'm proud of it. I'm a lyricist. I'm a writer. I'm a sort of a rapper, but in a with positive, philosophies and ideas. So I'm able to bond with certain youth based on the fact that I can identify with their music and try to steer them in the right direction. Because if we don't know what they're doing and we can only go back on what we grew up with, whether it was the Dramatics or you go back to Sam Cooke or whatever it may be, unless we're able to build a bridge between where they're at and where we were and able to cross back and forth, how do we, I guess, bridge the gap, the disconnect with our youth?
A very good question and an in-depth one. And to raise that question from the perspective of a parent and grandparent is certainly profound. I have found, and I'm sure you have also, that even when we do not necessarily sing the songs that our young generations are singing, or even understand all of the language, there is one language that every generation will always connect with, and that's the language of love and respect. Mm-hmm. If we love our children and our children's children, if we embrace young people and reach out to them and give to them a listening ear, it's remarkable what connections we can make. And I would also say, if we don't understand their music, let them teach us. We had our own music in our day, and we understood it very well. Much of it was relevant, and some of it was not. We enjoyed it. We had our own rhythm, and somebody listened to us. Somebody prayed for us. Somebody looked into our eyes and smiled and communicated to us that you are somebody. You are God's child. You are a person of dignity. And repeat, you are somebody. And they reached out to us. I can remember when we decided to organize in Atlanta our first sit-in movement. There were elders who didn't agree with us, but they didn't leave us. They didn't desert us. They were there with lawyers. They were there with bail bonds. They were there with open doors to their houses of worship, and in many respects to cheer us on. And without them, our movement would have been a failure, even when they didn't agree with us. So, what did we do? In those days, a little different from now, we went to jail with our books. I shall never forget talking to a fellow colleague from one of the schools in Atlanta, looking at her on her way to jail with a chemistry book, a history book, ready to suffer, but also prepared to study jail, and we'll create a university inside the jail. It was that kind of spirit, and we must tell that story to our children, our children's children, and show the films, and also, by all means, listen to them
Now,
and hear their cry and their call.
not to interrupt you, sir, we're at the top of the hour, and FCC say you got to take a break, identify who you are. So we are coming back, and I want everyone, as Theo would say, get your coffee, your orange juice, or whatever, and come back and enjoy this dialogue, because it's very enlightening, and we all need enlightenment now. So we're about to take our top of the hour break, but everyone, you got 30 seconds or so, get it together, and come on back and join us.
And we'll be back momentarily.
Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. You can have your own 30-minute show. Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only.
It's the These Nuts Show with your host, Butter and friends. Butter here, magician escape artist, practicing for my show tonight. Come on in, have a seat.
Everybody settle, Butter, you're on in 5, 4, 3, 2.
In a few seconds, you gotta be enough to get out of this one. Twist a little turn, ta-da! It's showtime. It's your old friend Butter here. I may be a nut, but I know to wear my mask. Please welcome our first guest tonight, fitness guru, Wally Wallman.
Wally Wallman here to tell you to wash your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds so you will stay healthy and strong like me.
Almond Cruz here, sliding in with the news. Distance is what we must do to stay away from the chew and other germs in the air that might be trying to get on you. Social distancing is a wonderful way to see friends. As long as you're 6 feet apart, you win.
Hey there, friends. I wouldn't miss this for the world. It's me, Pumpkin Spice, your healthy girl. Remember, it's important to use your kind hearts and follow the signs to stay healthy and safe at all times.
Chica Chiminsky here to say, don't forget the little ones that need you to lead the way. That's how we remember to wash our hands, mask, and social distance today.
Morgan Raisin. Yes, it's me, here to sing about health and safety. We are all here to help get a message out to your grapevine, teaching healthy choices to stay safe all the time.
Don't let these guys drive you nuts. Put your mask on first, they'll let you be. And it keeps me safe from the
chew
that's trying to get on me.
Butter me up. She's right, you know. Thank you, Hallie Cranberry, for joining the show. Let's all be nuts about our health. Social distancing, wash your hands frequently, use hand sanitizer, and wear a mask. Practice what we learned to stay away from the germs. We're all in this together.
WGPR Detroit HD2.
You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am Thabiti Mpinga.
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for feedback.
A positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback. YouTube. Our programs are rested there, and that's a good thing. This morning we have as our guest Reverend Otis Moss II, a former pastor of Cleveland Institutional Baptist Church He has retired from there. And we're enjoying our conversation, our analysis of what seems to be going on in our country at this time. This is a very serious time. And the presidential election will be taking place on November the 5th. So I'm hoping that each and every one of you have taken the time or plan to take additional time to call your family members, friends, co-workers, church members, student body members, etc., and encourage them to do the right thing. Reverend Moss, you were during the civil rights era a friend and worker for Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall.
I knew that Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall, met him in person maybe 3 times. Worked closely with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. As a matter of fact, my first wife, who was from Detroit, died at the young age of 25. Dr. King did the eulogy. And when I married again, my present wife, Edwina, Dr. King performed the wedding ceremony on Morehouse College campus. So we can truly say, with reference to the historic civil rights movement, we were and we are family.
Oh yes.
And
Go ahead.
Go right ahead.
No, I was just agreeing with you when you were saying that.
And we carried that kind of heritage.
Mm-hmm.
Now, those were not faith days, but they were saving days.
Mm-hmm.
We were, from our perspective, and I believe we were right, we were saving our country as we must do today.
Yes.
We were saving generations. And guess what?
What?
We were marching in Atlanta, and that's where I was based during those days. We were marching on a daily basis in the midst of what you could easily say dangers, toils, and snares. But the first African-American mayor of Atlanta, Georgia, was a classmate of mine, Maynard Jackson.
Oh.
Yes.
We graduated from Morehouse on the same day. Received our college degree from the hands of the same president, the late Dr. Benjamin Elijah Mays, who was also a mentor. The next African-American mayor of Atlanta, who is still with us, Ambassador Andrew Young. My wife, Edwina, was his administrative assistant when he was with SCLC under Dr. King and with Dr. King. So a generation of leadership we have witnessed emerged from the movement. We knew each other, we supported each other, and we have to continue to encourage that today. When we took Otis III to enroll in Morehouse, one of the first persons he met on campus was an upperclassman by the name of Warnock.
Oh.
Who is now Senator
Right.
Warnock.
Right.
So have that generational connection. And the historical black colleges and universities, our African American churches, not all of them, our African American leaders and spokespersons like yourselves have constantly made a difference in the midst of all of the voices of hate and the stay-at-home persons. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way, because many people who stayed home helped to build movements and did build movements and developed children and grandchildren who are changing the world. So there's always that force of good and justice and respect and dignity at work, even in the midst of all of the vitriol we see flowing from the campaign and headquarters of persons like former President Donald Trump.
I'll say that one thing that you said, let's say prior to the station break itself, that even though we're in the midst of this darkness, we are the light. And myself personally, like what you said earlier, is I remain eternally optimistic, because I do feel that good will always triumph, although it's in the boxing ring and it's got to fight like never before, fight like Ali, Tyson, or whomever.
Oh, yeah.
We have to always remain eternally optimistic, because failure and giving up is not an option.
Absolutely. And you know, Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall said we have to do the right thing. Even though he was in the Supreme Court, he said, do the right thing and the law will catch up. And then he went on to say that slavery was legal, that was the law, but it was not the right thing. You know?
Yes.
So racism was legal through the segregation, but it was not the right thing. So today we encourage as many as we can reach to encourage them to do the right thing. And doing the right thing at this point in the presidential election is to vote for Kamala Harris, because to vote for the person who likes to brag about being former president, that's not the right thing. So we just want to encourage people to do as much research as they can, and talk with as many people as they can to help them understand what the right thing would really be. And as your son, Reverend Otis Moss III, said, we want to save this country from itself.
And I think we're the only ones who might be able to do this. And I just want to throw this out real quick, since we do have listeners and viewers, that if you're living in Detroit, you can call 313-876-0190. Again, that's 313-876-0190. That's the Detroit City Clerk office. And those of you who may be listening in other parts of the country, there's a website, I Am a Voter. It's all one word, IamAvoter.com. You can check, you can become registered there. You can check your registration status and find any and all valuable information. But we need to take advantage, because we're coming around the last turn to the finish line, and we don't want to be neck and neck with anyone. We want to be ahead of that. And my son and I voted yesterday together along with a friend. My two daughters have already voted, early voting with absentee, along with my mom, my sister, my nephew, and some others. So I'm just waving the flag, the banner, and say that, take advantage of these things, because too late is too late.
Absolutely.
You are so right, and thank you for that, for sharing that kind of information. My wife and I, Edwin and I, went to the Board of Elections, as we do consistently on the first day of voting in our city and in our county and in our state, Cleveland, Ohio. And what you have just said is so relevant, and the information you have given is empowering information. And to have this kind of program on the airwaves really is liberating, because you are giving out good information. You are not spreading hate. You are spreading hope. And that makes a difference. And I want to personally thank each of you for what you are doing and for lending your voice, literally, to save our democracy.
Mm-hmm. Right. We it's difficult to understand this former president and his just constant preaching of hate. You know, on January the 6th, when there was the upheavals there, it was, to me, a vision of two groups of people. And I say this from time to time. There was a group of people, including the Klan and the Proud Boys and all of that, who came armed and wanted to fight, hurt, and kill people. And then there was another group of people that I call the Kool-Aid group. It reminds me of the group that went to Guyana and just followed mindlessly. And these people did not appear to want to go to the Capitol on January the 6th to fight anyone. They wanted to protest. They wanted to let the members of Congress know that their opinion was that the election was wrong, not legal. But when both groups got there, the hate group started fighting, and you know, it was interesting how the media didn't talk much about the 5 people who were murdered. And I just thought that was interesting. They did not show the gallows. There were 2 that were taken there. One was to hang the vice president by the neck until he died. They didn't talk much about that. And the second gallows was for Nancy Pelosi, being angry with her. But I just thought that in the beginning of all of this, the media was, they were kind of slow to really catch on and do what was right, what should have been right. And today it appears that there's a bit more of support for what's right than in the days of January the 6th. Now, 2 days ago or so, the Washington Post and the New York Times had an editing staff that had prepared a statement supporting Kamala Harris for president of these United States. But they were stopped by the owners of the Washington Post and the New York Times from saying that. And the statement came out, well, we're not going to give any endorsement, even though they had done a number of endorsements here recently and all through the past, saying that it would be the right thing to do, in their opinion, knowing that they were looking for support in the event that Donald Trump were to be elected. The fear of the owners of these 2 papers was amazing. But I guess that's what fear plus hate does.
I believe the Washington Post and the Los Angeles Times.
Oh, I'm sorry. Los Angeles Times. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, the
And
owner. Mhm.
it is it's really disheartening, disappointing, and maybe to some degree frightening that these powerful, should be independent news organizations at one of the greatest and most decisive moments in our nation's history, and we could say world history, they have chosen not to be a voice, but they're trying to be neutral. Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. Yet, we have a program like the program you are co-hosting with far more courage than the Washington Post. And in my opinion, the Los Angeles Times.
Theo said something. Now, I was just going to say quickly that Theo said something about fear. And even though they know what's right, fear has overwhelmed them. And because of that fear and the backlash, because as Theo indicated, January 6th created a fear thing where we know that these people are unbound. They're almost anarchists in their own way of seeing things, either our way or no way. So I think that's what has paralyzed a lot of the media. But I'm happy, and you mentioned this, Reverend Moss, I'm happy that many of the former cabinet members of the former President Trump have come out and spoke against him, and even have said, we're voting for. That takes a lot of courage to do that, because they're putting themselves in the crosshairs of those people who would support him. So I just wanted to iterate that again.
Right, they did a commercial. Those who had worked for Trump.
You are so right. I mean, these were top officials.
Yes.
And former members of the former president's cabinet, persons who worked with him, from the military to civilian persons in his cabinet.
Right.
Not only declared that they cannot vote for Trump, but declared, as you said, that they are supporters of Vice President Kamala Harris.
Mm-hmm. Right. I thought that was an excellent presentation in that commercial.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So in the midst of all of the hate and the vitriol, right, righteousness, and the courage to do the right thing, these forces are still alive.
This past Tuesday, on Tuesday night, I was watching a debate. Yeah, I kind of felt the same way when I was watching the debate, the way some of you all just responded. But God placed something on my heart that I would like to share with everyone here and those who are online with us today. Politicians never do the right thing unless a moral witness, a prophetic wing, or an ethical enclave stand before them and demand change. Abraham Lincoln did not free the slaves because he felt like it, but he was forced into glory by the moral witness of the likes of Frederick Douglass. FDR did not create the New Deal because it was a good idea, but he was forced into glory by the moral witness of people who demanded action during the Great Depression. Lyndon Baines Johnson did not sign the Civil Rights Bill and the Civil Rights Act because it was a nice idea, but he was forced into glory by the work of Martin Luther King Jr., John Lewis, and Fannie Lou Hamer, and others. Unfortunately, in our American political system, candidates and parties are beholden to special interests. But never forget, we the people have power. We, the people, black people, kissed by nature's son, have power. We have power in our vote. We have power in organizing. We have power with our pocketbook. We have power with our voice. And we have spiritual power connected to our faith. Black people have historically saved America from itself. Black people have historically been a moral witness demanding this democracy include all who yearn to breathe free. I believe the choice this November is not between two candidates, but two visions of this nation. One vision romanticizes the Confederate mythology that was birthed from the antebellum South. Another vision still sees America as the yet-to-be United States of America. I cannot support any vision. You can vote for whoever you want to, but I cannot support any vision that speaks to making America great again, because my conscience and my soul tell me when a person states America with the past tense language was great, I must speak up and say, what year are you talking about? Was it before I could vote? Or was it a year I was considered nothing more as chattel? Was it a year when women did not have the right to vote? Or was it the year before unions had been organized? I cannot support anyone's false nostalgia of white supremacy. I believe democracy is on the ballot. For some, and I understand it, the only issue is the horror, tragedy, pain, and destruction of human thriving in the occupied territory we call Gaza. For others, it is Gaza, the Congo, the Sudan, and Haiti. But I say to us all, we must look at all issues, foreign and domestic. For the question before us is, what will this country be? Not for our children, not for our grandchildren, but for our great-grandchildren. We must, as a church, and when I speak of the church, I said we must, as a church, the black church collectively, not churches that just have black people in them. I'm talking about the black church of Frederick Douglass, the black church of Harriet Tubman, the black church of W.E.B. Du Bois and the souls of black folk, the black church of A. Philip Randolph, the black church of Ida B. Wells, the black church of Ella Baker, the black church of James Lawson, the black church of Willie Barrow, the black church of Jesse Jackson, the black church of Jeremiah Wright, the black church of James Cone, and the black church of Martin Luther King Jr. The question for us today, since democracy is on the ballot, is will we stand up for the 295,000 people who die as a result of poverty every year? The question for us today, since democracy is on the ballot, is will we speak for the 87 million people who are uninsured in this nation? The question for us today, since democracy is on the ballot, will we stand up for people such as members in this congregation who have to decide whether to pay their rent or purchase prescription drugs? The question for us today, since democracy is on the ballot, will we stand with our union sisters and brothers who are under attack by corporations who want to outlaw unions? For those who do not know, unions ended child labor. Unions created the 40-hour work week. Unions created the 8-hour work day. Unions provided unemployment benefits, workers' compensation, and your retirement benefits. That is because of the work of unions. The question for us today, since democracy is on the ballot, will we fight for HBCUs? They are being attacked across this nation, where conservative legislatures want the land that is our historically black colleges sit upon. They are coming after North Carolina A&T. They're coming after North Carolina Central University. They're coming after Florida A&M. They're coming after Alabama A&M, Jackson State, Albany State, Fort Valley Southern, any state institution that is a historically black college. Since democracy is on the ballot, will women, let me say it again, will women, not men, will women, not men, but will women have the autonomy to make medical decisions about their body, and will people of faith be present to offer compassion, love, prayer, and support regardless of their decision? Will we fight to ensure that every returning citizen has full citizenship rights after they've served their time in prison. Since democracy is on the ballot, will we seek to abolish the penal system of incarceration that is destroying our community? Since democracy is on the ballot, will we vote to protect our right to vote across this nation? Conservative legislators are passing laws to restrict voting rights and gerrymandering districts to dilute black political power. Since democracy is on the ballot, will we fight to protect this planet as we are seeing the effects of climate change right here in Chicago? Since democracy is on the ballot, you must know there are 46 judicial appointments the next president will make that will reshape voting rights, unionization, homelessness, and even possibly outlaw historically black colleges. Since democracy is on the ballot, I'm not a one-issue voter, but I'm a voter who votes to protect black issues. Since democracy is on the ballot, I'm asking today, right now, everyone in this village, if you are a registered voter, if you are an organizer, if you are part of a union, if you lead a block club, if you are a local activist, it's time for us to get together as a community and collectively as a church and do what our ancestors have done generation after generation and save this nation from itself. Democracy is on the ballot. Now, I said what I said, and I ain't taking it back.
Appreciate that. We've had with us this morning Reverend Otis Moss II, a retired pastor from Cleveland's Institutional Baptist Church, formerly from Detroit, by the way. And now I would like to say, it's not necessary for you to know everything. What is necessary is for you to know how to find what you need when you need it. And we at Hood Research seek out as much as we can to share with you and encourage you to share with us. The email for Hood Research is contact@hoodresearch.org. Again, that's CONTACT, the @ symbol, HOODRESERCH.org. The phone number for Hood Research is area code 248-234-2371. Again, area code 248-234-2371. We have a conference call each and every Saturday from 3 p.m. until 6, during which time we encourage you to share any information that we can benefit from with us. We have guests on each and every Saturday between the hours of 3 and 6 p.m. So if you have someone that you would like to suggest, or you may want to be on yourself, don't hesitate to call and let us know. And we'll be back here next Monday at 9 a.m.
And as I always say, if you want to be nothing, do nothing. But the only problem with doing nothing is you never know when you're finished.
All right.
My.
Thank you and peace.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am Thabiti Mpinga,
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback.
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback.